Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Pod. I am recording this solo episode live from New York City. Well, it's actually not live, but as I do it right now, I don't know, it was just fun to say that. But I'm in New York City for Fashion Week and work, and it's been amazing and such a whirlwind and so fun. And I figured that the perfect podcast episode the Wednesday after this trip would be recapping everything to all of you because that's what I'm doing anyways on FaceTime with all my best friends. If you're in my Instagram broadcast channel, you see I'm on a FaceTime grind right now. And obviously, if you listen to Real Pod, you're one of my besties as well. So this is our recap. Speaking of how much I love you all, I do want to kick this off by announcing the winners of the Real Pod giveaway. So I posted a giveaway about a week ago giving away 2 AirPod Maxes in signature Real Pod colors. Love that red and pink vibe. And then 2 $200 Sephora gift cards. So 4 of you are going to be announced as winners right now. Let's go. The first winner of one of the beautiful AirPod Maxes, drum roll please, is Teresa Arboleda. Teresa, congratulations. You will have a DM from me. So send us your shipping info, etc. And we're going to get those right over. And the second winner of the last pair of AirPod Maxes is Bella Coates. Congrats, Bella. There will be a DM from me as well. Can't wait to get those 2 beautiful Air Maxes sent over. They're just so insane. Like, I literally love mine. I was so grateful to get mine gifted to me from Selena Gomez and Rare Beauty. How iconic is that? So I am honored to pay it forward and give away 2 pairs of Air Maxes. And then lastly, the winners of our $200 Sephora gift cards are Linnea Christine. Congrats, Linnea. And when I went to DM you, I saw in your bio, you are a dog mom, a Swiftie, and a teacher. And I love that. And a teacher deserves to go splurge and get all the makeup because I just commend you for the giving back you do on a daily basis to students. So I'm so glad that you won. And then lastly, Sophia Tolino. Congratulations, Sophia. You won the other Sephora gift card. Thank you all so much for supporting Real Pod and supporting me. And thank you to everyone listening. I'm sorry if you were hopeful and you didn't win. I love you tons. I wish I could give everyone everything. And there will be many more giveaways in the future. So keep an eye out for that. Okie dokes. Well, let's dive into the recap. I mean, where to even begin? First of all, some of you are probably thinking, Vic, why are you at New York Fashion Week? Or how does this even happen? Explain it to us. Well, it's kind of a funny story. What happened was I had a variety of meetings and different work connections, colleagues, agents out in New York that I'd been meaning to meet up with in person to talk about different campaigns and work opportunities. And they're East Coast based, but I love New York. So I was like, okay, let's plan a trip to New York so we can meet all of these teams and say hello and just strengthen these relationships. And so when looking at the calendar, I was like, all right, let's do it on September, like the 9th through the 12th. I was like, okay, let's do it in September, the 5th through the 12th. And I just randomly chose those days. So then we start kind of putting the meetings on the calendar and getting things sorted. And then all of a sudden, I start to slowly realize that's New York Fashion Week. I'm literally going to be there the same time as Fashion Week. So it was just a great coincidence because then like various invitations started to come through for some of the cool events that you saw me at. And I'll go through those. And so then like, it was the best of both worlds because I was able to get the work stuff done I wanted to do out here, but then also at night get to attend some of these glamorous, really fun events that I'd never been at. And also just when kind of alerting teams that I'd be out here, other things started to align. And then like whether it was brands or events, knew, okay, like this is another creator that's going to be in the city, like they reach out, or because my agency knows that I'm here and they might hear of an event that another one of their clients on their roster is going to go to and they think, oh, Vic would love this. So let's pitch Vic for it. So there's like a variety of different ways to whether it's get invited or attend something. So yeah, it all kind of worked out. But it's funny because if I didn't have the work meeting components, I would have had nothing to do during the day. And then if I didn't have the New York Fashion Week events at night, I would have had nothing to do at night. But then the combination of them made me literally so jam-packed. And I know how that sounds. Like I don't want to be that person that's like, I'm so busy, I don't have a second. But I guess when you're coming and taking time out of your week to be somewhere else, like you do want to book out everything just to make the most of the trip. I mean, there were times where I was like really tired and I was like, oh my gosh, I just want like an hour to myself. But I was like, I can rest when I'm back. I'm only here once. Well, I guess I could come back, but like it's a lot. It's a whole East Coast trip. I'm away from Max, all that jazz. Speaking of being away from Max, we haven't been apart for this long because we're going to be apart for like a week, if not a little bit longer. And obviously, I miss him so much. It's so funny. Like, I haven't missed Max this much in a while because we haven't been apart. So I'm like really excited to see him. Like, I'm going to be giddy, which is fun. But last night, it was funny because Max and I hadn't texted all day really or FaceTimed or called because I think I woke up really early and I know it's like 5 or 6 AM for him, so there's no point in me texting him. I don't wanna, like, wake him up. I didn't know if he had his do not disturb on. So, I just go about my day, and then he woke up later and he texted me like, "Love you, have a great day," whatever, whatever. And then, like, I think I saw it, but I wasn't able to respond, and then before you know it, it's, like, the end of the day, and we, like, haven't spoke. So then I FaceTime him, and I'm like, "Hi, babe," and so then we're, like, catching up, and then he said to me, he's like, "It's funny, like, I miss you, obviously, but, like, we know we're chilling," and I was like, "Completely." And I don't know if any other couples listening to this, I'm sure people listening to this are gonna be like, "That's so weird," but then I feel like there's other couples who are like, "No, I completely get it." Like, it's nice to just be on the grind and go about your whole day, and you just have a knowing, like, I don't know, we're good. Like, it's not like I don't know, I just don't feel this if I don't talk to Max in a 8-hour span that, like, I'm gonna freak out. Of course, like, I miss him and I wouldn't wanna not talk to him before I go to sleep at night, so then, of course, that's why we were FaceTiming. But I don't know, it's just interesting, the fact that we're both, like, so on the same page about it. We're so similar. It's, like, so wild. Max and I always talk about how we are literally the same person and we like the same things and we just, like, approach everything the same way. So, yeah, like, of course, I've missed him a ton, but I'm definitely not, like, glued to my phone trying to text and call him with the difference. Like, if I'm in a taxi, I'll call him and then he'll answer if he can, or if not, we call later. But yeah, it's like a throwback to our long distance days. Although long distance, we did this way better because we obviously had to. But I like struggle to focus when I'm around Max. For example, if I'm at home and Max comes home at like 6 from work, I'm like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to stop working because I just want to hang out with you. Whereas sometimes when he's like, I won't be home until 9, I'm like, thank goodness, because now I can like use these 3 hours to be productive and do things because when you're here, I just get distracted and I want to hang with you. So I think that's another thing is like when we're apart from each other, we're actually like, wait, we're grinding. I don't know if you guys follow Max on Instagram or TikTok, but he has been pumping out the content. And I was like, I leave for literally a week and Max makes like 10 TikToks. Let me get back to New York because that's why we're here. It's the New York recap. So, kicking it off with the first night, our flight landed. I came with someone who I work with. So, that was nice because it made everything really productive and I didn't have to be totally alone. We had dinner at Momofuku Noodle Bar. It was literally unreal. I got a bunch of Rex from Cubby because she used to live in New York. So, she like knows all the food. And Cubby and my older brother Jonathan are like total foodies. They literally always find the best, like, hole in the walls, best spots. Not to say that what I'm about to list are hole in the walls by any means, but just to paint you a picture of their food preferences. We went to Momofuku Noodle Bar. I think it's not on the Upper East Side, but it's like the upper city one. I don't know the city that well. And it was unreal. Like everything was 10 out of 10. And I love when I'm kicking off a trip with like a great meal. And I've recently been into Diet Coke. I like need a Diet Coke at every meal. I don't need it, but I prefer it. I don't know when that really started for me. My mom, I know, is thinking right now while she listens, that's such a bad habit. You need to stop having Diet Coke with everything because she has Diet Coke with everything and wishes that she didn't. But I'm like, Bill Gates drinks Diet Coke every day. And if Bill Gates is drinking Diet Coke, it can't be that bad for you. Then Wednesday was my second day here, or my first day. We got in on a Tuesday night, and then Wednesday was day one. And this was the biggest day. I had 3 meetings. I fit a blowout in the morning. I got my glam done. I prepped for a podcast that was happening the next day. And then I got ready for 2 events at night. So the first event that I went to that night was the VS tour event. I don't know if people thought it was a fashion show, but it didn't end up being one. But I wasn't really sure. I just knew it was like their launch event. And like many of you probably, there's some trust issues. There's a little hesitation, right? I've been super open online about, growing up and watching Victoria's Secret and the impact that it had on me. Although it's interesting because I want to take full responsibility for like my feelings and my emotions. Like I would never ever say anyone else besides me like caused me to have mental health issues or an eating disorder. Like I take full ownership for that is something that like I carried and I dealt with. However, I also recognize that when you're super young, you're incredibly impressionable and you don't have the awareness to differentiate between what you think you need to be or look like in life versus what you actually want. So, of course, I was persuaded by many things in society to desire to have like a certain body and look a certain way. I don't know if you remember, but I once posted in Instagram that was like Victoria's Secret when I was growing up and then Victoria's Secret now. And it went really viral. And it was like the contrast between the old campaign images to the campaign images that they have now. And actually, Victoria's Secret reached out to me when they saw that post and they sent me some bras and underwear, which was super generous. But they also included a handwritten note that said something like, Victoria, thank you for your post. We recognize the significance of your caption and we know we're trying to do this right. And like, we so appreciate the work that you're doing, which I thought was really classy because sometimes if you post about a brand or you share your true opinion, they might like blacklist you or be like, well, if you're going to say anything negative, like we're going to ignore you. Whereas I thought this was really cool that like they reached out and were like, we see you and we love this message and we are trying to have the VS now be like who we really are. And then I also had the opportunity to go to a Victoria's Secret times Naomi Osaka event in West Hollywood once, which was awesome because I love Naomi Osaka and I love everything that she stands for. So to go to that, and then I met with the VS team, the girls that were working there, and they were so nice and so awesome. And they were just kind of explaining like all the internal changes that they're making and like what they see for the future and how all the people that were a part of VS in the past are not there anymore, and they're really trying to rewrite the script. And I think at the end of the day, I also I'm like talking so much about this. I didn't plan to, but it's just kind of now all coming to me. At the end of the day, and I've said this on So Much to Say, if you're listening to my podcast with Aubrey every Friday that debuts on this feed, that I'm a big believer in growth and change. And I would want to give everyone grace in life the same way I'd hope they'd give me grace in life. And I know how much I've grown, not even to say like, as in I've done bad things and I've done good things. I just mean like from when I was 18 to 19 to struggling with my mental health to giving my TED talk to having so many revelations to going to therapy. Like, it's like I've evolved. I think when you hear people grow and change, you think of it as a negative thing, like they were once doing terrible things and now they're not. I guess what I'm more hitting at is everyone is constantly evolving. And I think that's the beautiful thing about being a human. And I want everyone to have the opportunity to evolve the same way I've evolved and continue to keep evolving. Drink every time I say evolve. So, when going to this event, I wanted to have an open mind. And I did feel like I felt a shift in the energy. It felt like it was more feel empowered to feel sexy and confident in your skin, no matter what your skin looks like. And it was a full circle moment for my inner child to be like at a VS event and then seeing the images and the different models and the visuals being so different than what it used to be. So, yeah, it was definitely a lot to take in and to process, but anyways, that was my night 1, and it was fun because I went to that with Ella, and just seeing Ella be surrounded by a lot of the models in the industry and people that she's looked up to was, like, really cool as a friend, and I think that Ella is gonna take over the world, and I just loved being able to go with her and just kinda see her excitement for the modeling industry. After that, I went to a YSL event, which was so sick. I love YSL. It's just so cool, and you guys know I'll talk about on TikTok how I love Hailey Bieber's style, and I know she is, like, the face of YSL, I think, and being able to attend that event was, like, just so surreal, and it was so sick, and honestly, like, Lil Nas X was there, like, walking around, and I saw a few other big names, and I love Lil Nas X. Like, I talk about Dream Real podcasts. It's actually so funny. When I saw him there, I pulled out the notes page on my phone and I wrote Dream Real podcasts because I was just thinking I need to just start writing this stuff down so that I can like have it as a manifest list. So here's who's on my list so far. And it's in no particular order. Lil Nas X, Taylor Swift, Simone Biles, Gigi Hadid, Kevin Love, Dax Shepard, Monica Padman, Kristen Bell, Jamila Jamil. That was kind of like what I rattled off the top of my head in the party. I've got to give this another comb through and obviously like add more to it. But I just love Lil Nas X. I think as a black queer rapper with so many mainstream hits, like it's just him being himself is so inspiring, and I think his success and he's so funny. If you ever watch, like, his TikToks or his Instagram, he's, like, hilarious, and he just seems like a great, great person, and I think he is someone that is changing the world, and I love it for the LGBTQIA+ community. Oh, something that I maybe should have said earlier is, like, outfits and planning outfits, and it's so funny, like, for being at New York Fashion Week, I did not, like, pay to get styled for carpets or anything like that. Honestly, everything can I think I talked about this on Instagram, like, a while ago. Everything can become so expensive. Pay for a stylist, pay for hair, pay for makeup. It can quickly add up, and I'm just kind of, like, not always trying to do all 3, let alone even 2. So I ordered some cute pieces from Nuuly. I have been loving Nuuly. It's the best. They actually are a sponsor of Real Pod. So I love when it's always super authentic and I genuinely love it. I usually never, ever accept an advertisement or work with any brand that I don't actually enjoy. So I ordered some pieces from Nuuly and then mixed and matched in my closet. And actually, Lauren Jaworski, who I love, if you've seen on my Instagram, she's a stylist and we did the outfits for Paris. We FaceTimed and she helped me kind of like perfect some of the fits. But other than that, I just kind of tried to go like simple and sexy. So, 2 of the nights I had a black dress. The YSL night, I just did a mini sequin dress. It's actually from Zara. I just like have had it in my closet and it was perfect. And it felt like very YSL to just go a mini nude sequin dress with nude heels and a nude clutch. That was a YSL clutch, which is really funny because I didn't know like if you're going to an event with a designer like that, is it weird to wear the designer? But then if you don't and you wear, like, a different designer, is that, like, insulting? Like, I don't know the politics of this stuff, but my only clutch is YSL, so I didn't have a choice. I was like, "This is the only clutch that I have, so I'm wearing it." And then when I was there, like, it was a mix and match. Like, it's kind of just, like, wear whatever outfit you want, and if it happens naturally, it happens naturally. So, yeah, that was a really amazing first day, and then on Thursday, I had more meetings, but I was able to also record a Real Pod episode in New York, which was so fun. I had on Amanda Hirsch. She is the host of Not Skinny But Not Fat, and that episode is coming out next week. So stay tuned because you're literally going to love it. I thought that she's just so great and awesome and chill. And it was funny because her and I are like very similar vibes, but I feel like polar opposite as well. So that was funny and we joke about it. I went to a fitting. I was very grateful to be styled by Alice and Olivia for their presentation, which is tonight, so I haven't even attended it yet. I'm recording this on Saturday morning. And I love Alice and Olivia. I just love color. I love sparkles. I love trendy. And I feel like that really is Alice and Olivia. And I actually wore a gorgeous Alice and Olivia embellished white and silver mini dress for my rehearsal dinner. So the fact that they were like, "We want you to come to this event and we're gonna dress you," was so cool. That feels like a very Fashion Week experience. However, it was one of those days where you're in a dressing room and just things aren't fitting right. And not only can that be a struggle when you're alone at a shopping mall in your own dressing room with your own clothes and like no one's really helping you, but then to be helped by a stylist and then there's like another dressing room and there's other girls there and they're trying on things and it's looking so amazing on them and I'm back in my room and like just feeling like things aren't fitting right, like my boobs are too big for this bustier, or the jeans kind of zip, but then I have a massive camel toe. Or you're so excited because it looks so cute, but then it just looks really not the same on you. Or like a fit and flare jean you feel like looks good on this person, but then on my like quads, my muscular quads, I'm like the fit and flare just isn't looking right. And the thing is, I really feel like I could have cried. I could have. I didn't. And first of all, if you cry in those situations, I've been there. I have cried in so many dressing rooms. So you're simply not alone and it's totally valid to cry. But I feel like I was at a place, and I'm just at a place in my life where that would have been the easier thing to do. The easier thing to do would have been to just cry and like let my emotions get the best of me. But I took some breaths and I kept my cool and I kept repeating these two statements to myself. The first one, it's not you, it's the clothes. 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 I love that. And then my second one is it's just not meant to be. It's just not meant to be. And I'm a big believer in divine timing. I'm a big believer in divine timing. And I just think like it's just not meant to be. There's something else I'm going to wear. There's some other reason I'm going to put something else on and it's not meant to be. So if you're ever struggling in a dressing room, please take my two go-to sayings and allow them to help you. It's not you, it's the clothes, and it's just not meant to be. And also Santiago, shout out, who probably will never listen to this and I won't see again, but he was the sweetest and he was the one helping me. He could not have been nicer. He could not have been nicer getting bigger sizes, sizing me up, finding things that I would feel comfortable in, hyping me up, talking about how we could make something work. So I loved that. That's a good person right there. And just to add a bit more context, I'm a size 10 and they had the lots of size 10s. But because there were a bunch of people being styled, like if something was chosen for them, it was then like pulled off and then like wasn't an option anymore because they didn't want people wearing the same thing. So that's why like by the time I went, there were more limited options, but I feel really good about the outfit. It's giving like punk rock chic and I'm wearing it tonight and I think you're going to love it. But yeah, that was the minorest little hiccup, but I think just a very common experience for many. And then after that, I went to Via Carota for dinner. I love Via Carota. It's one of my favorite New York restaurants. And I didn't even know Miss Taylor herself loved it until after the breakup with Joe. It was like her first paparazzi pic back on the streets. It was Taylor. Obviously, when I say Taylor, you guys, I'm referring to Taylor Swift to state the obvious. And it was Taylor walking out of Via Carota, and I was just like, "No." I am shook because I love it so much. I remember the first time I ever had Via Carota, they had, like, a special edition, like, buttery sugar pasta. It was like a cinnamon burnt buttery sugar pasta. It was a special, and I got it. It was the best pasta I've ever had in my life, that when I was on the plane leaving that New York trip, I remember, like, a visceral feeling of, like, I'm leaving the state where that pasta exists. And then when I came back years later to have it again, they were like, "That was a special, we don't have it." And I was just like, "No." So I've just never had it again since. But anyways, Via Crota is the bomb. And I'm posting a list of the restaurants that I went to and my reviews and everything I ordered. And I'll post it on Instagram if you need it. And if you want to get into Via Carota, it's incredibly hard to get in. So here's my tip. On the weekends, like forget about it unless you want to go and put your name in at like 2 or 3. If you put your name in at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, you might get seated around like 8:30 or 9. And I've done that before. You just have to be around the area and put your name in and then come back like 4 or 5 hours later. But we hit the jackpot because we went on a Thursday night and we waited in line. We went there at like 4. It opens at 5. And so we were there right at 5. And they said, "When do you want to eat?" And we said, "As soon as possible." And they said, "Perfect, we can seat you now." So if you want to eat at Via Carota, go on a weekday night. Honestly, preferably like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. They're less popular than a Thursday. And then that night, I went to a Vogue New York Fashion Week kickoff party, which was so sick. I mean, to be at a Vogue event, and it was like the coolest venue. I'm trying to remember what it was called, the venue. Oh, it was the top of the Standard Hotel, and it was gorgeous. I think too, just being at these parties and looking around at the fashion and the style, it's like, wow. Also, everyone was so nice. I've had such a good experience of like people being really friendly and nice. I almost feel like there's a more of a warmth than there is in LA. Sometimes at LA events, people, whether they're not actually trying to be mean or they're just like very in their own bubble, in their own world, that they're just like standoffish. I think standoffish is the perfect word. Whereas in New York, I felt like everyone was really friendly. I ran into a bunch of creators that I'm mutuals with on TikTok or Instagram, and like people could not have been nicer. So that was a win. And then on Friday, I was so excited. This is the highlight of my whole trip. It was the meetup that I did at the Little Words Project store. This is also something that came together at the last minute. Well, not the actual collaboration and collection. So if you saw on my Instagram, I'm very excited because my nonprofit, The Hidden Opponent, is releasing 2 more bracelets with Little Words Project. We had our advocate bracelet come out last year for mental health, and it sold out, and you guys loved it so much, and we were all blown away at the support. So Little Words Project and The Hidden Opponent collaborated again to add 2 additional bracelets, one that says change and one that says athlete, to really complete the stack because, 3 bracelets together just looks amazing. That's a stack, right? So you have your advocate, change, and athlete, and that really embodies what we're trying to do with the hidden opponent. We want to create change, we want to advocate, and we're doing it for athletes. So that's coming out on October 10th for World Mental Health Day. So if you thought the bracelets looked cute on the stories, they're coming out, and 25% of the proceeds are going to the hidden opponent to give back directly to student athletes. So that had been in the works for months and months and months. But then when I was on a call with Little Words Project talking about the launch, they were like, "Well, we wish we could see you. We're in New York." And I was like, "Well, I'm literally going to New York like in 2 weeks." And they said, "Oh my gosh, let's do something." And then somehow we came up with the idea of, what if I came to the store to see the bracelets, and we posted about it, and we invited anyone in the community who's in New York City to come by and say hello. So we pulled it together at the last minute, and it was so special. I got to meet so many of you. You are the nicest people ever and so kind. I mean, like, one of the cutest things was someone who got to the front of the line. I think her name was Shannon. I hope I'm remembering that right. Hi, Shannon. And she was like, "I literally have to go to catch a train, so everyone let me cut." And I was like, "Oh my God, I love that everyone's so nice that they let her cut the line," because I felt bad. We had started like 15 minutes late because setting up went a little bit over, and then they like kind of paced people coming through. So I just hate making people wait, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But I thought that that was so sweet that people who had already been waiting let Shannon cut the line. Anyways, it was just such a fulfilling, awesome experience. I truly love it. I love saying hello. I love learning your names. I love hearing your life stories. I love knowing what you love about anything that I do, whether it is the hidden opponent, it's Real Pod, it's Instagram, it's the VIP broadcast channel, it's TikTok. All of that just truly lights me up inside. And I love that we did that. I love it. And I need to do it more. And I'm not always out on this side of the country. That sounds dramatic, but I'm not always out east, and I'm just so glad that we did it, and I wanna thank any of you who showed up and are listening now. All of our photos were so cute. Anyone who tagged me, I reposted it, and thank you for buying the bracelets. It means the world, and I just love the Little Words Project team. They're just such good people through and through. Shout out to the founder, Adriana, and her right hand, Mariah. You gals are the best and the nicest and the sweetest, and I'm so glad that we did that. I'm also pumped because shout out to Katie. She's a videographer in New York who's super talented and DM'd me. So we were able to work together, and she took a dope video from this meet and greet. So I'm going to be posting that so you guys can really kind of relive it if you came, or if you weren't there, get to kind of experience it through Insta. And also the funniest thing about that was the very last person in the line, I like did a double take, and I was like, "Chris, my cousin Chris." Not really my cousin, but kinda my cousin. It's like my dad's best friend's kid, and he has 5 siblings, and we all, like, grew up together. So, when you, like, say you're cousins, but you're really family friends? Well, I didn't even, like, process, but Chris works in the city because 'cause they're from Chicago. I was born in Chicago, and so Chris showed up to the meet and greet, and I was like, "This is amazing." And I thought that that was just so sweet that he showed up, and then I was like I felt bad that I didn't have time to chat with him because I had to go to Ella's fashion show, so I literally was like, "Chris, do you wanna come in my Uber and we can catch up for 20 minutes while I drive back to my hotel?" And he was like, "Yes." So that was fun to catch up with, family friend that I hadn't seen in a while. And then I went straight to Ella, who was walking in the Giovanni fashion show. So proud of her once again for walking in New York Fashion Week. She was the only curve model in the show, and she absolutely slayed. I obviously wish that there had been more, but I'm glad that Ella was in there and had the opportunity to represent and absolutely dominate, and she looked stunning, and I'm literally lolling at the photos. I look like Kris Jenner. I put my sunglasses on because I literally, like, barely had makeup on. I was so tired from the whole week, and then the meet and greet, while it was everything, it like your social battery is definitely at the bottom by the time it's over, and so then to go to this event, I just, like, kinda wanted to just be there to support my friend, but not to socialize at all, so I felt like the glasses were helpful, and I went to that event with my friend Michelle, so it was nice to be with her and really just support Ella. So, yeah, she slayed it, and I can't wait to see the videos and the pictures from her on the runway. And then I went to a Italian dinner and had a bomb spaghetti bolognese, Caesar salad, Diet Coke moment, and then I came home and I absolutely passed out, and now it is 11:30 on Saturday, and I'm still laying in my bed. This is kind of the last day of the trip, and what's happening is I'm recording this Real Pod episode, and then by the time I'm done, I'm gonna get ready. My cousin Taylor, you guys might remember Tot, she was in my wedding, lives in New Jersey, so she's driving in. We're gonna go to a lunch together, and then I'm taking her to the Alice and Olivia event with me. I'm so excited that she'll be able to experience this. We're gonna get ready in the room. We're gonna go to the event from 4 to 6. I'm super excited. And then after that, we're gonna get in her car and we're gonna drive back to New Jersey where she lives. I'm gonna see her daughter. Taylor's actually so pregnant. Like she could have the baby any minute. I'm low key like, please go into labor. I would love to be here while you're having your baby. Although I'm sure she's like, no, I want this baby to stay in here for another month. Actually, I'm sure she wants the baby out too. I've got to ask her. But I'm excited to see my cousin, and I feel like I've been able to get in a little bit of everything, and it's just been a whirlwind. It's been amazing, and thank you for following along on Instagram and for listening to this recap on the pod. I love you all dearly. I'll be back next week, but if you want to be with me sooner, tune into this week's episode of So Much to Say. It's coming out on Friday in 2 more days. All right, well, I love you all so much. Congrats again to the giveaway winners. Thanks for listening to this recap, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Real Pod. If this hit home or helped you in some way, send it to a friend, a teammate, roomie. Share the love, share the realness. New episodes of Real Pod come out every single Wednesday, so make sure you are subscribed to this podcast so you never miss an episode. To leave a rating or a review of the show, head to iTunes and let me know what you think. I love hearing from you. Not to mention, you can stay connected with Real Pod throughout the week, seeing behind the scenes info and sneak previews of upcoming guests by following the @RealPod account on Instagram. All information about today's show and guests will be linked in the description of this episode. Thanks again for listening. I love you guys so much. Let's go dominate the day, and as always, keep it real.